Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and stay tuned by clicking the bell icon. Sex education, Heartstopper intimacy coordinator talks Hickies, sex scenes, and how he choreographs your favorite shows. David Thackeray, the intimacy coordinator for Sex Education Season 4 and both seasons of Heartstopper, knows you probably have a lot of questions about his line of work. He's been tasked with choreographing the pulse-pounding and inevitably awkward moments of sexual exploration that you see on screen. Both Netflix shows have, in recent years, revolutionized television's depiction of young intimacy. It's a responsibility that Thackeray, who began his career as an actor in the United Kingdom, does not take lightly. For me, there were a handful of times where I had intimate scenes or nudity, especially for stage, and it wasn't dealt with properly. Thackeray tells Teen Vogue on a recent video call from his home office in London. I remember thinking, wow, there's a lot of people in this rehearsal room. Oh, it's not a closed rehearsal like they said it was going to be. Oh, the windows are wide open. This is not fun at all. I think you should have a bit of an understanding of an actor's process and what they're going through when it comes to intimate scenes. I can offer different approaches and at the same time know what the directors need for their vision. In a wide-ranging interview, Thackeray, who has also worked as an intimacy coordinator on The White Lotus, It's a Sin, Industry, Foundation, and The Crown, breaks down the key intimate moments from Heartstopper Season 2 and the last 3 seasons of Sex Education, and offers greater insight into one of the most important jobs to gain traction after the rise of the #MeToo movement. David Thackeray. Actually, I was taught by Ida O'Brien at drama school briefly, and then I was invited to help with the research and development of the intimacy coordinating role. I was there from the beginning, when no one really knew what was going on, what was happening, or what the process was. I know the States were a little bit more ahead, but we were just trying to figure it out. It was a core group of establishing intimacy coordinating, Miriam Lucia, Elle McAlpine, Kat Hardman, so my training very much was workshop after workshop and in choreography. I was coming in as a director more so than as an actor, but I did the process of training as an actor and director, so I understand how it works both ways. And then suddenly, I was put on set, and one of my first scenes was an orgy laughs, so it was a lot. TV. You were thrown straight into the deep end. Were you always someone who felt comfortable talking about intimacy and sex, or is that a kind of competence that you've been able to develop over time? DT. I think going to drama school definitely gave me confidence in understanding bodies and space, and taking away any kind of anxiety when it comes to that. But I think after you learn the process and you've workshopped it, it just becomes quite technical. Once you've done 5 or 6 years of this job, you have to remind yourself that not everybody is open to talking about intimacy and sex, and it's about going, okay, let's go from the beginning, the baseline. Of course, there's still elements of it where I still laugh and I still go, oh wow, that's a lot. But I think as soon as you start stripping it all down to the choreography and what the artists are going to be wearing, who's going to be on set, it's not sexy in any way. It takes that mystery all away, really. DT, I think there's a few. There used to be a lot more when we first started, but some people are like, oh, they're sort of the fun police, or they're just going to get in the way, or they're just there for an insurance policy. People are not realizing that we've got a whole toolkit, and I don't mean a physical toolkit, but there's a whole process where we can make the director's vision come even more to life. We're not here to get in between anyone or anything. And not all intimacy coordinators carry this magic/nudity garment bag. There's a lot of us who collaborate with costume designers, and there's not just one process. I come away from set feeling exhausted because of the amount of nerves or the way you are having to hold a space, not necessarily just for the cast, but also for the crew. There's a level of respect and a level of listening to understand how the room is feeling. You're there on the day, you're checking in with the actors before they go on set, You're making sure they've got all the nudity garments in place. You might have to choreograph and rehearse that scene that day, so you've got to work that with the director and the artists. You've got to close down the set with the first AD assistant director and make sure there's a few monitors on that need to be on, and whoever needs to be there is there, but it's a closed set. And when you're shooting the scene, you're very much looking for the details. You're looking for how you can help the director's vision, and also making sure the actors feel comfortable during it. Some sex scenes can take a bit of time as well. DT. If an intimate scene or nudity happens, we're like, what does this do? How does this help the character's journey? How does this move this story forward? That's the question I have for the actors as well. And then, after talking to the director and hearing their vision, we'd go into even more detail. What's the quality of touch? What's the position or the extra details that are going to help move this even further? DT. Heartstopper is literally about intimacy. The whole thing is about relationships. That's the core of it. So each touch, each kiss really does push the story forward in that relationship. If you talk about Kit Connors, Nick, and Joe Locke's Charlie in the first season, you've got the hovering of the hand on the sofa. And that's not something that an intimacy coordinator would necessarily be there for. But for Heartstopper, they were like, yeah, that'd be great if you could talk about the quality of that and find the stillness of what that means for that character. It's huge because those moments show discovery and exploration. And for sex education, there's so many laughs because each one has a purpose, a story, and a lesson to it. DT. That is a huge question. I don't even know where to start. Laughs. It starts with those early conversations with director Euros, Lynn, creator Alice, Osman, Kit, and Joe. Euros, Kit, and Joe would find a nice arc of these characters' journeys, and I would literally step in and be like, right, this is the intimate moment, and the question is, whereabouts are we within both of their journeys? A clear one would be kissing out in the street outside of a parent's house or a kiss in front of their friends, which is their safe space. What does that look like? Who's in charge of this moment of intimacy, or are they coming together? Who puts their hand first? That's where I would say it goes. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and share.